Matt Corral played the entire game against Liberty, 20 of 27, 314 yards, 324 actually, and no picks. And didn't run the ball too much. Tried to keep him safe in that sense, but he did play the entire game.
Right. Yes, sir, he did. I honestly thought, they probably were going to try and take him out towards the end of the game with a comfortable lead, but they really never got to that comfortable lead. And I think a lot of fans might have liked to see him come out, but he stayed in and thankfully didn't injure himself any further. So that's good news.
You ran down the skill position player issue in terms of injuries for us last weekend. Obviously, Jerrion Ely really picked up the slack, had a huge game, 70-yard touchdown run, 2 TDs on the day, $115 on the ground. But at the receiver position, Dennis Jackson stepped in very capably, and John Rice Plumlee, 7 catches for $110 after not being used for much of the season.
Right. Yes, sir. Dennis and John Rice really did, like you said, stepped up with Sanders, Mingo, and Drummond all having some lingering injuries. Sanders did play a little bit. I think he had maybe 4 catches, but nothing outside of crazy. I think he's still a little bit banged up, but like you said, yes, they stepped up, and it was good to see. Second week in a row, seeing some guys that can step up and help fill that void.
Got Nick Filipich on the line from the Rebel Walk. Please join him and the rest of the staff there covering Ole Miss athletics. And the Rebels are 7-2, taking on 7-2 Texas A&M. Both teams comfortably in the top 15 in the nation, and we'll see what the College Football Playoff Committee says about each of them on Tuesday night. Please like the video, share these videos out on social media. We talk college football with you every day. Our aim, our goal is best discussion, debate, and analysis. You make that happen, so please share the link as well on social media and subscribe right here. Texas A&M coming off another impressive showing. So the Aggies stumbled a couple times early against Mississippi State and Arkansas, then turn around and beat Bama. And since then, they've just been a different team and held Auburn to 3 points.
Right. I was just looking, and Auburn kicked that field goal in the first quarter. And after that, held them scoreless. And like you said, after beating Alabama, they've really, put themselves back into, not a college football conversation or playoff conversation, but, to finish pretty high up in the West. And I think they're starting to show their potential that many, thought that they had at the beginning of the season. They've got the second-ranked defense. They're right there behind Georgia. I think they're allowing just under 15 points a game. And in the SEC, that's pretty dang good. So they've got a stout defense and 2 of their own running backs, kind of like Ole Miss. They don't have just one guy that can run it. They can really spread it around, and it'll be interesting to see what they bring.
At 7-2, Ole Miss is playing for a pretty serious bowl berth.
Right.
On the other hand, Texas A&M, so both teams have 2 losses in the conference. Alabama, of course, has 1 loss, but Texas A&M's in position. If they can win out, they need Alabama to lose, and they can tie Alabama for the division title. They get the head-to-head. They go to Atlanta in the SEC championship game. So big game for both teams, but Texas A&M still holding out hope that somebody can knock off Bama. Of course, that one team would be Auburn most likely. And Arkansas also has a shot at Bama before then. Your thoughts about just Texas A&M in terms of concerns besides that rock-solid defense?
The only concern I think that I have from the outside looking in is maybe their quarterback play. Early in the year, they had their starter go down and they have their backup in Calzada. And he's not been anything, special, but, he's went in there and got the job done. I watched that Bama game. And like I said, he didn't do anything too special, but he played well enough to beat them. And obviously, Ole Miss lost to Alabama. And like you said, A&M holds that tiebreaker over Alabama. So if A&M can, like you said, win out, I think they make a strong case, to show up in Atlanta.
Yeah, if Alabama wins. If that's the case. Yeah. Or if Alabama loses. So it's certainly not up to, unfortunately, if the college football playoff should be like this. It's just up to wins and losses in the SEC.
Right. Absolutely.
So Yeah, they were not able to score an offensive touchdown against Auburn. They kicked 4 field goals. They had a scoop
Right.
and score on defense,
Right.
so they did not put up any touchdowns. And Zach Calzada, yeah, he came into the Colorado game when Haynes King left the game. They had a really poor showing at Colorado against one of
Right.
the worst teams in Power 5,
Right.
barely escaped 10-7. And then, yeah, the offensive struggles continued against especially against Arkansas, but also Mississippi State. But they've righted it since then. But yeah, they ran into a tough Auburn defense and didn't put anything on the board offensively. So
Right.
Texas A&M defense, Ole Miss offense. We'll see who wins out. Typically, in those kind of situations, they say, well, the team that plays better on their weak side of the football,
Right.
meaning the Ole Miss defense or the Texas A&M offense, is going to decide this one.
Right, and that's actually what I was thinking this morning, looking at stats, and I saw, oh, well, it's going to be this Ole Miss offense versus the A&M defense, and I was thinking about, and like you said, it really will come down to the A&M offense versus the Ole Miss defense, and whichever one of them, kind of sputters or makes the most mistakes, I think the other one will come out with the win.